The Bible calls you a masterpiece. It says that you are created by God, that you are His handiwork, that you are created on purpose for a purpose. And it talks about us being in the hands of a potter, that we are the clay and He's the master potter and He is making something beautiful out of our lives. But here's the problem. We all want to be the finished product. We want to be the vessel that God can use, but we often miss our first calling, which is to be clay. We need to be able to be pliable and moldable in a place where our lives are able to be shaped by God so that He can create in us something beautiful that He can pour out and use for His purposes. But if we're unwilling to allow Him to do that process in us, then we'll never get to the place where He can fully use us in the potential and the purpose that He has called us to. And so we see this in creation. And I want to point this out to you that God revealed through creation and the story of creation that's laid out in the book of Genesis, that each step of the process is good. God created the heavens and the earth, and He said, it's good. And then He stopped till the next day. And then He created light, and He said that was good. And He created the waters and the dry land and vegetation and then animals. And each step along the way, He just stopped for a second. He paused, and He said, that's good. And I feel like we don't get to this point in our lives where we pause enough to go, what God is doing in me is good. The work that He's doing is good. I may not be where I want to be yet, but it's good. I may not be the finished product, the vessel, but it's good. The work He's doing in me, the step I'm on, the process I'm going through, the journey, it's good. Every step of the way is good. And what God is doing in our life is good. Man was the crowning achievement of all creation, but there were some steps that had to be done first. There were some things God needed to do in order to create an environment that was healthy for man to thrive. And I feel like that's the same thing He's doing in our lives. He wants to take us somewhere where we can thrive and be all that He has called us to be. But there are going to be some steps and a process to getting there. And sometimes we get tripped up because we know God's at work. We know He's building something, but the process is long. And it can be a long, long journey waiting to see the fruit produced in our lives. But I want us to be able to stop today and say that what God is building in you is good. And God is actually building something in you so that you can handle the capacity of blessing and responsibility in the place where He is taking you. So the work He's doing is super important. We can't skip the steps. We can't run to the finish line. We actually have to allow Him to work in us. Listen, God has something incredible in store for you, but there's some things He needs to do in you first so that you can thrive where He is taking you. He's making you strong. He's building that strength inside of you so you can handle the vision that He has for your life. So I want to encourage you today to be able to celebrate the process and how far you've come. When you look back and you see what God has done in your life, it's so much more rewarding and it builds our faith rather than always looking forward and wishing that there was more He had accomplished. We need to learn to enjoy the present moment, to celebrate today's victories, and to know that what God is doing in you is good.